Hey YouTube, welcome back to Diabo Analytics. In today's video, I'm going to explain one of the most important functions of Microsoft Excel, pivot table. If you have a data set and you want to analyze it in the easiest way, the most fast and efficient way, and you don't want to use complex formula in it, you should learn pivot table. And in this video, I will use a practical example and explain the pivot table in the most simplest way. Remember, I would show you the most important and useful things in pivot table only. Without further ado, let's get started with our first scenario. We have a data set of sales information with order date, region, representative, item, units, unit cost, and total. The manager has provided us 2 minutes to analyze this table. And if we go and use different complex formulas, it will take a lot of time and the margin of error is high. The next and best option that we have here is using the pivot table option. And for that, we need to first select the table. There is 2 ways of selecting the table. The first thing is just selecting the table manually, select it to the end. And the second option is press Ctrl, Shift, arrow key to the right, and arrow key to the bottom. It selects the whole table. And when we go to Insert, and we have Pivot Table, 2 options for the Pivot Table. The first one is Customized option, and the second table is the Recommended option. Let's go and select the Recommended option first. If we select the Recommended option, you can see that it already prepared a short summary and report based on the region, based on the items, and different criteria. However, we don't want any report of recommended, and we would say that go to Insert, select Pivot Table. You need to confirm your selection. After that, OK. A new sheet will open with all the column. A new sheet will open with all the column informations. And we have 4 boxes here: filter, column, row, and value. This is the standard format of the pivot table. However, what I can recommend is when you run your pivot table, right click on this and go to pivot table option. After that, go to display and select classic pivot table layout. When we have the classic pivot table layout, you can see that the filter, column, rows, and value, each part is visible based on the box provided here. And if we want to analyze the same thing as recommended, we can go select the region, we can put it in the rows, and it provides us with all the region. And if we take our selection and put it out of the box, you can see the cross option here, and it will remove the selection. It's simple as that. You only need to play with this information. So what we can do more just to improve it. We select the region. First, we put it here, but we also have the option to put it in the rows. So we want the information based on the region. After that, what are our values? Do we want it based on the unit cost? Do we want it based on the totals or units? If we want it based on totals, you just need to put the totals in the value, and it will automatically provide with the totals. Totals for the first region, second region, and third region. Now it don't look much appealing. What we can do always is to change the design of our table. Select the table and go to design, and from here we can choose our recommended design. This is my favorite design that I normally choose it. I go to view and remove the guidelines. Okay. Now, if my manager asks me to provide the report based on items, what I can do is remove the region and select the items. Put items in the row. So we can see the totals for each item is listed here. Now I don't like the way that these values are formatted. I can select them, go to Home, and arrange our text formats. Even we can put the $ if we want, or anyhow, we can format our text. Besides that, if I don't want this information and I want the count of information and I don't want the dollar sign, so I change this back to numbers, put it into input format, and after that, after selecting or after clicking here, what we can do is go to value field setting, and in here you can select count. Okay, this is the count, 15, 3, 5, 7, and 13 of each. What we can also do is let's play a bit with this information, and I want to see each of the representative. Let's remove this information. I want to see each of the representative. We have this much representative in each region. Let's put our region in the column, and let's see the total of unit sold in the value. I always want to adjust the formatting. Okay, perfect. So it shows that these are the sales representative, and they have made a sales in each region with this specific value. We have a total to our right for each person and a total towards the bottom for each region. Now I want to change my report back to item wise. I don't want the representative. I can remove the representative and bring back the items. Okay, so it shows the sales of each item in each region by total cost. What does this filter do? Let's put our representative here. It comes at the top of the table. So in here we can select and we can filter how much Andrew has sold each of items, and in each region selected, it shows Andrew sold only these 2 items in the central region only with this amount of value. Let's change it to Morgan. Morgan has sold 3 items in the central region. Okay, and if you want to get all the information back, select all. Changes in the data set. If we go back, I changed the cost to sales price and the order date to sales date. Now we come back to our pivot table. I want to refresh the pivot table to update with the updated information. I have updated the information, and now I want to drag and drop all the information that I already have in the boxes, because I want to feed it with new information. So I want to see for each region, put it in the row, which items has been sold and what are the duration, like on which date this sales has been made. If I put this, we can see that the date is by year, and if we expand it, it gives us by quarter, after that month, and after that days. So if you want to make it simple just for the months, we can remove the year, quarter, and sales date. Now we will have all the information. Now all the information is available by the months. So what we want to see, how many items are sold. We select unit, put it in the value. Now it doesn't give me, it does give me the number of items that has been sold. If I want to see the average of each items, I can simply click in the value field setting and select the average. These are the average of items that have been sold. We go back to the value and select count. Just count each items that have been sold. Now we want to move it back to its original. So, okay. I did prepare this report, but now I want to prepare it for each sales representative. Okay, how can I get that report? I can just put the sales representative in the filter, and in the top of my table, I can select each of the sales representative, and it automatically provides me the data. For example, for John's, if we select it, John's has made sales only on East region, and this is the sales per month. I can go to filter and select multiple items, and from the list, I can select the multiple persons. For example, in consolidation, how many items has John's and Smith's sold? If we select it, you can see for the 2 regions, they have made sales of these items, and this is the breakdown of their sales for each month. As you can see, I have selected the units here, but I want to select the total sales for these two persons. So I can and tick this checkbox, or I can just drag and drop it. So in here, I will select the total sales. This is the total sales value of these two individuals for this specific period that we have the data. Now, if we are asked to prepare two reports based on item and based on region, how many and in total how much did we sold by region and by item? How can we do it? We just remove our selections. We leave the region. Okay, these are the regions that we have, and from them you can see the total sales. How much of total sales have been made for these regions? Okay, if we want to verify the number 19,000, we can go back to our table and go to the bottom of our table and use the formula sum. $19,625.88. Okay, we can see that our data is accurate. Okay, now I want to just copy this information, copy it, and paste it. If we copy and paste it, then we will have two pivot tables. In the second pivot table, I want to remove the region and I want to add item. So this is the region total sales, the item total sales, and if we want to add by sales representative as well, we can also do that as. Okay, let's make another copy, paste, adjust the columns, and from here I remove the region and put the sales representative. Okay. Now I want to see, as you remember, we did have the filter. If I want to put the representative in the filter, I can see it in the top of my pivot table, the filter, and I can filter each item by the sales representative. For example, I want to see the items that are sold by, for example, Thompson. Click. This is the total value that has been sold by Thompson. The second option that can make our table more realistic and good, we can remove this filter, go to the representative, right click, and select add slicer. If we click add slicer, we can see the list of representative where we can select Jones. It can provide all the information and sales for the Jones, Cable, Morgan, and we can also adjust our information here or just make it smaller or larger as we want. Here I want to remove one of our pivot tables and I want to use one of them to show you just some more tips and tricks here. We select the items. As you can see in the pivot table, in the regions, the first region is filled. However, the rest of the cells are still empty. It applies for all the regions. What I can do if I want to fill all the regions, I click the first one, go to field setting, layout and print, and select repeat item labels. After selecting it, I can see that all regions have the information filled in. Always remember to refresh your table. If you can see, the total now is 19,627, and if I want to change the unit sales for the first item from 95 to 300, I can see the total sales change in total sales. Besides that, when I come here, I don't see the exact change. Therefore, I need to refresh my table. You can see 20,035.83 is the new total. So make sure that always update your pivot table to reflect the updated changes from the table. Now, if I have another set of information, for example, this information was for stationery, the items were stationery, and this price was different. However, if I have the same set of information with different item and different unit price, how can I create the pivot table easily? So since I already have analyzed and formatted my pivot table, the easiest way for me will be copying this pivot table and pasting it in a new
cell, and after that select the pivot table, go to pivot table analysis, and after that select change data source. Now the current data source is a stationary file and a stationary sheet, and this is the range of the data. Now we want to select another data source. Go to IT, and as we can see, the data source is already selected, or we can manually click here and select our data. After selecting our data, we need to press OK, and as you can see, the items and prices total value of sales has been changed for this. However, the format for these two tables are the same. We can do it in the same sheet, or we can just copy and paste a new sheet, move or copy. We can say create a copy. This is our new sheet, and after that, if I want to delete this one, I can select our first pivot table, go to pivot table analysis, change data, go to IT sheet, select this table, already selected, press OK. As you can see, all the information has been updated here. Now, if I want to get not the total of sales but the average, as you remember, we go to the box value, select the value field setting, and after that I can select average. Okay, and provide me the average sales. I can go undo and select the sum of total sales. The next thing that I want to see is I don't want this subtotal in the middle for each region. I want the value of totals, so I can select and remove the tick mark for the subtotal of the region. This is the one option. And the next thing is I can customize this table in a way that if I don't want the central region on the top and the west region on the bottom, I can manually arrange it. As you can see, it's automatically organized by alphabetic letters starting from C and ending with W, but I want E on the top. So I select E, and when the cursor value changes, I move it to the top. So now east is on the top, central is the second, and west is the third.
Remember, you can only master the pivot table if you use different data sets and do not fear to experiment. Learn all the tips and tricks from this video on a different data sets and experiment with different rows, columns, and scenarios. I'm sure you will learn it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.